So fuck, you're a psycho. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Blah, 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 blah. 21, 22, 23, 24. Are you kidding me? Oh, I don't know. Come on. Estoy muy bien. Actually, I don't think I'm gonna whisper in this, just because talking about. Okay, so I'm gonna do like a story time, and I'm pretty sure that my emotions are gonna be. Oh my god, this table! What the fuck? I'm gonna be telling a story time about this guy that I went on a date with from Plenty of Fish, and yeah, just a quick update. I'm back in America, and I actually made an update video that was really good. Like, I was really proud of it. I edited it and everything, and because I just figured out like how to use iMovie, and I didn't have enough storage to save the project from iMovie, and so I was like, oh, let me just delete the original video. Let me just delete the original video, and then I'll have space to save it, because in my mind, I thought that iMovie would save itself a copy. Well, when I deleted the original copy, it just deleted the whole thing. It was like, oh, well, there's some files missing. Sorry. There's some files missing from this video, so we can't play it. I was so upset. So, when I first moved to this, town, I'm gonna meet my mirrors right here. Hi, phone. How are you? My mirror's right up here, so if I look up, it's because I'm trying to look through that. Anyway, so okay, when I first moved here, I didn't know anybody. I moved here to live with my grandmother because I couldn't stand living with my mom, and it was like all my friends were back in my other state. I'm about 4 hours away from my place where I live, right? And this town that I live in is incredibly small and incredibly white. And the only way for me to really make friends is with the people that I work with. And I don't really get to interact, like, even because I've had a few jobs since I've been here, and I don't really get to interact with people my age. People that I work with are usually in like high school, or they're like 37 years old and have like 4 kids and are trying to support them with the same job that I'm doing. So there's really no in between, because especially when I first started, because obviously everybody my age was off to college. When I came here, I took a year off of college. For my grandmother went to the doctor and forgot her phone. So I started going on dates with guys that I would meet online. And I used like I deleted them all now. I don't have anything. I used Tinder while I was in China, but I deleted that because I just want to take a break from guys and everything like that. It's just a lot, and I really just don't care. But at that time, I was on every dating site, well, every free one that there was. And, okay, pause because I have to go wet my sponge. I'm back. So, I was using like every and any free dating site that I could, because I was like, oh, the more dating sites that I'm on, the more chances I'll get to meet hot guys and go on dates. So, I get on Plenty of Fish, right? There was only three uh, I guess I could quickly like summarize the first psycho that I dated. And I really don't care about using fake or real names because these guys, like, whatever. Anyway, so the first psycho guy, because I had two psycho experiences off of Plenty of Fish, and that's probably why I don't use Plenty of Fish anymore. But the first psycho, his name was Nico, and when I looked at he was like the first guy I think that like sent me a message on Plenty of Fish because I didn't really know how to work it, and I was still trying to figure it out and everything. But I think when he sent me a message, I was like, oh, that's how I send messages, whatever. So he sends me this message. I look at his pictures, of course, because you want to see what the guy looks like, and I look at his pictures, and they're kind of weird, kind of like, but I was like, I couldn't really tell exactly what he looked like from his pictures. I just knew that he was blonde, and he looked like kind of buff, but just like the angle that he took it was weird. But I was like, okay, whatever. So I started talking to him and whatever, and he seemed cool. Like, I mean, he liked to text, he liked to talk, he wanted to get to know me, whatever, whatever. So I was like, cool, because like a lot of guys, in my experience, don't really like to text that much. So whenever I find a guy that likes to text a lot, I'm like, okay, this is great. We start talking. Of course, I send my friends his pictures on our group chat because what girl doesn't do that? So I send my friends his picture on our group chat, and they're like, this guy looks like he's gonna shoot up a school. And I was like, what? Okay. And so they were like, he doesn't look that trustworthy. And I was like, okay. And of course my friends only want the best for me, so I was just like, I'll take that into account. But so far he's been nice. So the thing was, we only really texted for about 10 minutes before he was, I think maybe 25 minutes. We only really texted for like 25 minutes before he was asking me for my number. Now, this was my first time, being like dating online. So I was really like leery about it. Sorry, I have to take this out. I was really leery about it. So I wanted to be like cautious and whatever. Now I don't really care too much anymore because I've had like pretty chill experiences, but at that first part I was really like leery about it. So anyway, I had a texting app that I downloaded. So whenever a guy like asked for my number, I would give him the texting app. And after a while, if like I trusted him, we've been talking for like a couple weeks, and like we met up, and he was fine. After we met up, then I would give him my real number. So I gave this guy my text app number. Literally like 2 seconds after he was like, hey, made sure it was the right number, he called me. And I was just like, okay. Not saying that I don't like talking on the phone, but like he didn't even ask like, hey, can I call you? He just called me. So I was like, okay. So I pick up the phone. We proceed to talk for the next 4 hours, which I thought was pretty cool. Like, I was like, oh, this guy's great. This guy's cool, really cool to talk to, or whatever. There was a couple of red flags in the conversation though, and yeah, I can't remember because this was like 2 years ago, so I can't specifically remember, but I just remember him saying something like, oh yeah, like he didn't care. Like, the main thing that I was looking for when dating a guy at that time, because I couldn't drive, I didn't have my license, and so I needed a guy who didn't care about having to come pick me up and whatever. So he didn't care about that. And so I was like, oh, okay, that's good. So he was already making plans for us to meet up, which at the time was a red flag for me because I wasn't comfortable meeting people in person until I talked to them for like a week. Now I don't really care because I know a lot of people don't like waiting that long because they don't really like texting and whatever. So yeah, but the biggest red flag that I would have to say was like every time I tried to leave the conversation, because like it was 4 hours of talking, probably like the 3 hour mark, I tried getting off the phone with him for like an hour and he just still wanted to talk. He found ways to just keep me on the phone and everything like that, and I was like, why are we still talking? Like there's really nothing else to talk about. So yeah, so fast forward, like I don't really remember the details of this only because it's been so long, so I'm just gonna fast forward because there's another psycho guy. But basically, this guy texted me nonstop, like completely nonstop. And the first time that he really, really creeped me out, like, cause he's the type of person that, like, if you don't respond to his texts, he'll be like, hey, where are you? Where are you? What are you doing? Like, hey, did you see my text? Did you see my text? Hey, 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 hey. And so that kind of took me off, only because like I like texting, but I feel like there's a balance to it, especially when you first meet someone. Like you shouldn't be texting all the time. Like you should just let the relationship grow naturally over text if that's what you're gonna do. So that was a red flag to me, only because I'm like, I mean, I can be needy and clingy, but not when I first meet somebody. Like that's just weird. So that was a red flag for me. The next thing I remember is one day he was texting me and he was like so drunk, and I'm pretty sure this was literally only 3 days after we initially met, because the day that we met, we had talked for 4 hours on the phone. And ever since that night, which granted, yes, had only been 3 days, he had kept trying to like talk to me on the phone, but I was working a lot at the time. So I really wasn't about it. Like I was like, oh, I'm kind of busy, because I knew if I got on the phone with him, he would want it to be like a 4 hour conversation or like something like that, because that was just like magical to him. I mean, it wasn't really that big of a deal. It was like nice, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't that big of a deal because I was like, I've had long conversations with people before and it's ended in nothing before, so this doesn't really mean too much to me. But I guess for a person who hasn't been in like a conversation like that before, it would be like everything to them. So, one night he was really drunk, and he was texting me. He had tried to call me a couple times. I was like, no, I really don't want to talk. It's really late. Whatever, can we just text? He was just telling me like, oh, I like you so much. And I'm just like, oh, okay, great. That's great. Keep in mind, we hadn't met, and the more that he did this weird, the more that I was like, I'm just gonna put this off for a little bit. Also, I was kind of stressed out because my audition, because this was before I was enrolled in school again, so I was practicing for my music audition and stuff like that, so I was really stressed out about that. Anyway, so he was saying like, oh, I really like you, and I was like, oh, that's really nice. I thought it was kind of creepy though, because like I said, we had only been talking for like 3 days. And then he says, you know, the first night that we met, I just deleted my Plenty of Fish profile. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, I deleted my profile. I was like, why did you do that? He's like, well, I mean, I kind of had a really good feeling about you, so there's no point in having it, you know what I mean? I was like, okay. I kind of just didn't say anything. I was like, I did that girl thing that we do. I was like, oh, that's sweet. And so, of course, he goes, so I guess that means you still have your profile. And I was like, yeah, I still have my profile. And he was like, so you're talking to other guys? I was like, yeah, I'm talking to other guys. And that crushed him. That literally crushed him. He started crying. I really didn't even know what to say. I felt bad because, like, at this point, I hadn't really been in that many, like, relationships with guys. Before this guy, I had only really had my ex in my life. He was, like, the only guy that I ever really dated. And I really never talked to anybody over text on, like, a romantic level besides him. So I was just like, oh. Like, at first, I was like, am I doing something wrong? But then I was like, no. There's no reason why he should be expecting me to not talk to anybody. We've only been talking for, like, 3 days. Like, you're kind of being a psycho. So I was just like, okay. After he did that, like, I'm pretty sure I either, like, told him not to cry and then whatever, and then, like, just get just, like, go to sleep because he's drunk, whatever, something like that. Anyway, so the next day he, like, apologized and whatever, and was like, oh, I'm so sorry about that, I was just really drunk, getting my feelings. I was like, oh, no, it's fine. The next thing, but I do remember me saying, like, we should just cut this off. Like, we should stop talking so much. I'm not really, like, comfortable anymore. He's like, why? I was like, I just feel like you're kind of, if I'm being completely honest, I just feel like you're kind of being clingy. And he was like, oh, okay. And so I was like, yeah, I just don't really want to talk that much anymore. Especially since I have my audition coming up, so I'm just really stressed about that. He's like, oh, okay, I get it. And I was like, okay, so he understands. He didn't understand. So I'm thinking we're gonna cool off talking. We maybe talk every 3 days or something like that, or like maybe once a week. He texts me the next day. Obviously didn't get what I said. And I remember me just ignoring it, like, I literally just said, we don't need to be talking like this. Literally ignored it, but like I said before, he's the type to just keep texting. Hi. Are you there? Hello, hey. Then when I didn't answer his text message, he got on Plenty of Fish and was like, hey, are you there? Hey, what's up? Hey, LOL. So, the night before my audition, I decided to give him a text because I was like, whatever. I was like, hey, how's it going? Whatever. Because at that point, I was like, I think something had happened between us before. But at that point, I was like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I tried telling him that I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to talk anymore. You just make me feel really uncomfortable. He started crying again. And this is the thing, I can't remember what, but he was like, we'd be so good together. We have so much in common. I know that once we meet in person, you're going to really like me. Like, well, I was like, I don't want to meet you in person. And he was just like, no, you're just not giving it a chance, blah, blah, blah. And this is the thing that I was like, fuck ass, no. He was like, I want you to meet my family. Don't do this. Fam, we've only been, and I'm pretty sure at this point it had only been like 2 weeks. It had only been 2 weeks. When I told my friends about that, they were like, if you don't stop talking to him, we're going to hack into your phone and delete his contact right now. And I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. So I just deleted him. I blocked his number because nothing that I was saying was getting through to him. And then after that, he kept trying to message me on Plenty of Fish. But I couldn't figure out how to block someone on Plenty of Fish. So it was like a week before I figured out how to block him because he kept sending me messages. So I finally blocked him. I think like a month later, he made a fake account on Plenty of Fish just to add me back and talk to me. Fam. I was so fucking mad. So I think I deleted Plenty of Fish for a while. Alright. So after that, I actually went on when I downloaded Plenty of Fish back, because I took a break from it because I was like that was too much. I took a break from it, and then I got back to it, and I went on a date with this guy who I didn't think was attractive. I didn't think he was cute at all, but the conversations that we had were really stimulating, and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy, like, he makes me really think about things. Oh my gosh. So that was like enough for me to like give it a chance at least. And then when I met him in person, he was freaking hot, and I was like, oh, okay, so you just take terrible pictures. But that ended up not working out because, long story short, we went on this like amazing date. I thought it was amazing. Apparently he didn't think so. But we went on this amazing date, and afterward, actually we went on 2 dates. After the last date, we had a good night kiss. It was our first kiss, and I was like, oh my god, that was magical, blah 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 blah. And then he didn't talk to me for a week. And when he finally, because like, and that was weird because we had been talking every day for the past 2 weeks. We had been talking every day, like fully engaged conversations. So when he didn't, that were initiated by him. So when he didn't text me for a week, I was like, something's up. Yeah, and long story short, he just basically told me that he thought that I was too immature for him. My whole living situation was too immature. The fact that I didn't have my license was too immature for him. So, because at the time I was still 19 and he was like 23. So I guess he's probably like 26. No. He's like 25 right now. So, whatever. But yeah, so I was too immature for him, so he stopped talking to me. It was an amicable goodbye, but I was still really heartbroken by it because I was like, oh my god, I really like you. Anyway, so fast forward to the next psycho guy.